On the evening of January 31st, 2026, nothing seemed unusual. 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie spent her nights surrounded by family, laughter, and warmth in the quiet hills of Tucson's Catalina foothills. It was the kind of evening that leaves no warning behind. At approximately 9:45 p.m., Nancy was driven home by her son-in-law. He watched as she safely entered her house, a simple, routine moment that would later become the final confirmed sighting of her alive. By morning, that normalcy had shattered. Nancy failed to attend her weekly virtual church gathering, something she never missed. Concern quickly turned into panic. When her family arrived at her home, they were met with a scene that felt deeply wrong. The front door stood open. Inside, silence. Her phone was left behind, her essential medication untouched, and most chilling of all, there was no sign of Nancy. Within hours, authorities declared it an active crime scene. This was no disappearance. This was an abduction, and someone had planned it. The evidence began to reveal a timeline, one that unfolded in the early hours of the morning. At 1:47 a.m., Nancy's doorbell camera was abruptly disabled. Then, at 2:28 a.m., her Apple Watch, synced to her pacemaker, stopped transmitting data. Something had happened in that narrow window. Days later, investigators uncovered disturbing images hidden deep within the camera system. A masked man stood at Nancy's front door. He wasn't rushing. He wasn't panicked. He was methodical. Wearing gloves, a ski mask, and carrying a cheap backpack, the intruder attempted to disable the camera, first by force, then by carefully blocking it with objects nearby. This was not random behavior. This was someone who came prepared. Even more chilling, one of the images was not from the night of the crime. It was taken earlier. He had been there before, watching, learning, waiting. Nancy Guthrie was not chosen by chance. She was studied. As the images spread, the public reacted instantly. Thousands of online investigators began analyzing every detail: height, posture, clothing. And soon, suspicion took a dramatic turn. Attention shifted away from strangers and towards someone close. Nancy's own extended family circle became the center of speculation. Her son-in-law, the last person to see her, faced intense scrutiny online. But it didn't stop there. Internet detectives dug deeper and identified another individual, a man loosely connected through social ties. His appearance seemed to match the figure in the footage. The accusations spread rapidly. Videos gained millions of views. Crowds gathered outside homes. Fear replaced logic. But there was one problem. There was no evidence. The man at the center of these accusations eventually spoke out, describing how his life had been turned upside down by something he had no connection to. Meanwhile, investigators issued a clear statement. The immediate family had been fully cleared. But by then, the damage had already been done. Behind the scenes, investigators focused on what mattered most: the evidence. A glove was discovered miles from Nancy's home. It closely resembled the one worn by the masked intruder. Inside it, a DNA profile. But when tested against national databases, there was no match. Then came another twist. DNA recovered from Nancy's home did not match the DNA found on the glove. This suggested something far more complex, possibly more than one individual involved. The investigation expanded rapidly. Surveillance footage, thousands of hours, was collected. Vehicles moving through the neighborhood were tracked. Authorities even turned to genetic genealogy, a powerful tool capable of identifying suspects through distant relatives. At the same time, ransom letters began appearing. They demanded money. They claimed Nancy was alive. But at least one was proven fake, a cruel attempt to exploit tragedy. As days turned into weeks, one fact became painfully clear. There was still no confirmed proof that Nancy Guthrie was alive.
Nearly a month after her disappearance, the case remains unsolved. No arrests, no confirmed suspect, only questions. How did the intruder know so much? How did they know Nancy lived alone, her routine, her vulnerability? How did they enter and leave without a sound? This was not luck. This was knowledge. Investigators continue to process evidence, analyze DNA, and chase leads across digital and physical landscapes. A reward exceeding $1 million has been offered, and still, silence. Nancy's family continues to hope for a miracle, but they are also preparing for the possibility no one wants to face, that the truth may be darker than anyone imagined. Somewhere, someone knows exactly what happened that night, and until that person is found, this story remains unfinished.